And as soon as I can see that everyone has audio capability, perfect. If you're listening in today, please make sure that your microphone is on mute because we want to make sure that we're paying close attention to the presenters. And I want you to treat this as a modified Shark Tank. So we're having presentations tonight and also on Thursday night.
As soon as I can see that everyone
Apparently, I wanted to hear myself twice. So one second. There we are. And so this is it's not a competition, but it is a competition. And so having said that, I want you to come with your A game. Present this like you are basically presenting to a client because you are in the scenario, but perceive that this client is actually going to give you money. So we'll just say we're giving $50,000 to Mr. Bessler and he can give that to the appropriate team. So no promises, Mr. Bessler. I'm just saying, but he is a graduate of our program, and so I'm very excited that he's here. Can you give a brief introduction, if you don't mind, to the group?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's James. I am the Assistant Director of Outdoor Pursuits and Marketing for the campus recreation building on our Stephenville campus. Like Dr. Edwards said, I am a graduate of the master's program that you guys are soon to be graduates of. I graduated in 2022 with my master's, and it has served me very well in what I do.
Awesome. We're very excited that you could join us tonight. And we also want to make sure that we can, provide an opportunity for everyone to engage. And so having said that, make sure that you head to the chat. If you are a participant to, just chat using the back channel, or also feel free to ask questions as well. So we will have our 20 to 30 minutes of presentations, and then also we will have a short time period where our guests can ask questions, and then also our participants can ask questions as well. And we will go from there. Do we have any questions before this group begins? All right. I've been excited about this for a while, so I cannot wait to actually see them present. All right. So without further ado, take it away, team.
All right. Good evening. I think it's evening where y'all are. It's still afternoon where I am. So I'm in currently in Las Vegas, but thank y'all so much for jumping on and joining us this evening. Our group is going to talk to you about using ChatGPT to support outdoor pursuits. Our goal here is an effort to register more participants, but also how do we engage with those participants once the outdoor pursuits event is over, right? And we feel like ChatGPT is a wonderful tool that can help accomplish both of those goals. Before we begin, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our team. First of all, we have Dr. Melissa Musser, who, as you can see, all of these very established, has all of these established academic accolades on her resume. And then you have Amy Irwin, who's currently a master's student in communication at Tarleton with Bachelor's of Science from SFA. Myself, I'm Nate Burrell, Bachelor of Science in Communication at Tarleton State 2010, and a Master of Art in Communication Studies right now. Also, please forgive my voice. It's been in and out all day. I told Dr. Edwards we had a baseball tournament on Sunday, and then I came to the loudest city in the world and have been trying to talk to people. So I'm going to do my very best to make sure that I'm heard, but it might come across as yelling. I'm not yelling at you, James. I promise, although I would like you to choose our options here. And then we have Jesse Kaser, who's also a master's student, Carson Stein, and Kenny Labor. They'll be the ones presenting. Before we get deep dive into ChatGPT, I want to start with our target outcomes that we hope that you can accomplish from this, James. Goal number one, we want Tarleton State Rec Sports to use ChatGPT to align consistent messaging and lead to boosted registration numbers. We want to see those registrants come up. Messaging plays a crucial role in shaping people's beliefs, values, and their actions. So if we can create a consistent message of why people should go and pursue the outdoors, we feel like ChatGPT can keep that messaging consistent across the board. It can also offer dynamic support for messaging at every level. It can help keep that same narrative consistent in social media, in email blasts, and in-person conversation as well. Goal number 2, we want Tarleton Rec Sports Outdoor Pursuits to use ChatGPT in maintaining positive relationships with the participating students, even after they've gone on to finish their outdoor pursuit. Communication is fundamental to building trust, and open and time-sensitive communication is crucial for maintaining that trust. By using ChatGPT, the Rec Center can create factual, consistent, and transparent communication for all of the registrants to be more prepared for what lies ahead. So as we dive in a little bit more about what ChatGPT is and how it can benefit you, I'm going to turn it over to Amy. Amy, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I do that a lot. So let's talk a little about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an AI program that was released in 2022 and developed by OpenAI. It has the ability to engage in human language, ability to perform various tasks, and can generate tasks in multiple styles and formats. ChatGPT can also understand and generate human-like text based on the input that it receives. So when someone puts in a question, it can literally respond as if it were a human. ChatGPT is adept at writing skills, and it can assist our journal authors with faster writing more efficiently. However, some worry that it might remove the humanistic parts of stories, but it can also edit written pieces to create similar voice, tone, and consistency through various messages. And why is that important? Well, because when people are talking to AI, they want to feel like they are connected to them. And this is a way to help them connect. Of course, we've got to talk about the ethical review. Okay, so first and foremost, yes, there are privacy and data usage issues. AI systems raise concerns about the use of personal data without consent, potential exposure of private information, and the risk of misusing AI for surveillance. Concerns about privacy, security, and fairness occur when considering the potential role of an AI entity in managing personal finances. Because ChatGPT must be based on some sort of database, misinformation may affect how financial situations are handled. Essentially, by making sure that we are covering a good, safe way of using the data and protecting the data and making sure that it's transparent is a good way to avoid that. Lack of human emotion. That's another issue. As AI advances, however, concerns over potential loss of human control with the fear of AI may act erratically or be biased. Goes back to the old movie, I, Robot. The excitement about ChatGPT's ability to create human-like answers can lead to widespread concern of morality, especially in institutes of higher level. Once again, we worry about bias. Misuse and manipulation. The irresponsible use of AI raises concern about the creation of false content for misinformation. Issues such as plagiarism, copyright, lack of sources, and privacy protection are all concerns within this industry. And I'll be honest, as a teacher, I have been really concerned about the misuse and manipulation. However, the more I learn about it, the more I feel it can be used as a good tool. Communication theory. The interaction adaptive theory, or IAT, explains behavioral adjustments between people. IAT says that during interactions, people change the way they act to line up with the communication styles, expectations, and needs of others. Well, ChatGPT will match the author's tone as well in the same way and style. When the author is more casual, it will alter its response to become less formal, which matches the premise of IAT. Chat's ability to respond using IAT suggests the interactions are active and always affected by each of the participants' actions. So if someone comes in with a question that from a very high level, it's going to give them back a very high level answer. If someone comes in and just says something in a very low way, they're going to respond in the same way. That way the user is able to best understand ChatGPT. And I'm not sure who I turn it over to next. I'm sorry.
It's me.
Okay.
So we understand that there are positive and negative aspects of the technology. So starting with the positive, ChatGPT is a free tool. Anyone can use it anytime for any purpose. They can answer questions, hold conversations, and offer opinions about various topics. ChatGPT is the most advanced language processing system available. It can also be used to generate ideas and content by breaking sentences into smaller chunks and analyzing each component separately. ChatGPT can create content on a variety of topics with minimal effort. So you're getting all these questions answered instantly. It can also provide inspiration when needed. ChatGPT can create content on a variety of topics with minimal effort. Onto the negative aspects, ChatGPT appears to be getting less accurate over time. Perhaps more distressingly, no one has a good explanation for the troubling deterioration. Full dependence on the technology to provide accurate data could easily mislead users. So ChatGPT was trained on a vast number of sources, some of which contain obvious biases. As a result, the tool sometimes produces outputs that reflect these biases, such as racial or gender stereotypes. Since ChatGPT generates responses quickly, it decreases the user's ability to brainstorm, think critically, and be creative with their answers. So these are the impacts, the technological impacts. We're going to cover cultural, economic, intellectual, and political. Starting with cultural, ChatGPT has helped the democratization of knowledge, making information easier to access for diverse populations. By interacting in more than one language and adjusting to diverse cultural contexts, it helps connect communication gaps and promote cross-cultural understanding. Now, moving on to the economic impacts, ChatGPT and other AI-driven tools provide productivity gains across industries by automating jobs such as customer service, content generation, and data analysis. This automation can minimize operational expenses for businesses, potentially leading to economic improvement. Next is the intellectual impacts, which ChatGPT improves intellectual capital by acting as an educational means and a research helper. It helps in idea generation, problem solving, and information retrieval, making the efficiency of intellectual work better. And lastly, we have the political impacts. ChatGPT affects political dynamics through its ability to spread information quickly, both accurate and misleading. ChatGPT and AI technology have a unique opportunity to serve as the unbiased third party to help balance out those injustices to voters in countries that have a right to an elected official. So what's the future of the technology? Over here on the right, you can see a user talking with ChatGPT, and it answers right there, and it says it's all about evolving and improving. Okay, well, what tools do you have? It says right there it has increased personalization, multimodal capabilities, greater collaboration, and ethical development. So over the coming decades, there will be great growth in AI with scientific research, government policy, customer experiences, climate control with enhanced weather prediction, and medical treatments to address the world health crisis. With its ability to do numerous tasks for generating content on any topic, ChatGPT has excellent potential in AI and business in general. There will be new companies building AI chips, AI data centers, and the rest of the massive infrastructure required to make an LLM work at a speed and scale. It is clear that technological advancement is here to stay.
So you're probably wondering how to use ChatGPT. First step would be to visit chatgpt.com, and once you're on the page, choose Start Now or download the app to begin using your preferred platform. In the main portion of the desktop view, you can begin by asking a prompt question or choosing from one of the options available. The left-hand sidebar saves chat history for the previous 7 days. It also allows users to upgrade from a free plan to a paid plan. I personally pay for it. I think it's worth it. I think it's faster, it's more reliable, and like I said, it generates your questions a lot quicker. You can generate an AI image, prompt the software to generate an image, use a specific language to get the best results, analyze data. In addition to questions and generating images, ChatGPT also has the ability to provide full data analysis. Provide feedback. After ChatGPT provides answers, users are tasked to provide sentiment feedback based on its answer. So our proposal is to use ChatGPT to support your campaign. So proposal is using ChatGPT to boost rec sports registrants. Number one would be to align messaging efforts. Rec Sports can unify all its varying messages across email and social media to one clear voice. Two, clarify essentials. Using ChatGPT can help identify all the necessary essentials one would need for the trip. If they know they won't have to spend much more, they may feel more comfortable with the cost. Three, social media copyright. Simply suggesting themes can lead to ChatGPT providing next level social media content through rec sports channels to reach and engage the audience. Number four, answering FAQs. ChatGPT can answer basic FAQs. If potential registrants have common questions or concerns, the technology can help create answers to address. This can alleviate fears and encourage signups. Number five, define registration process. ChatGPT can create an easy process, reducing barriers to participation. Now, using ChatGPT to maintain relationships. Number one would be crafting messages. Rec Sports can create messages to welcome students, thank participants for signing up, and outline what they can expect leading up to the trip. Number two, post-event communication. After the trip, ChatGPT can create a thank you message expressing appreciation for their participation in a consistent tone. It can also assist with a feedback survey. Number three, survey analytics. After creating the post-event communication and feedback survey, ChatGPT can analyze the survey data to provide better experiences. Number four, sharing memories. If photos are unavailable from the trip, the generative AI feature for image creation can turn memories from the trip into beautiful imagery that can be shared with participants. Number five, theme ideation. Using ChatGPT to develop new theme concepts keeps every trip fresh.
And so here are some of the best practices. Number one, be specific. Tell ChatGPT exactly what you want with your request. Usually sarcasm does not work as it is a system. It can't really understand what you're saying. Provide context. Sharing background information about goals, audience, or previous interactions can help ChatGPT tailor responses more effectively. With this initiative, explaining past trip failures and successful help. Number three, ask for different perspectives. When looking for creative ideas to reach varying student audiences, ask for different perspectives to broaden the horizon. The more you can reach out, the more you can get more responses and more of a broader view. Number four, set the goals for the chat. Share the target outcome for the conversation. ChatGPT can focus on providing the most relevant information and support. Number five, use follow-up questions. If the response does not meet expectations, ask follow-up questions or request clarifications. And on this side, we have the things that you probably shouldn't do when using ChatGPT, such as number one, vague questions. Questions that lack detail or context may lead to frustration. Number two, expectation of perfection. ChatGPT can make mistakes. It may provide incorrect or outdated information. Over-reliance on the responses without verification can lead to misunderstandings. Number three, expecting emotional understanding. As explained, ChatGPT is incapable of understanding human emotion. The user will be disappointed, but AI will not. Number four, lack of patience. ChatGPT is at its best when the user engages in follow-up questions. Users who lack patience to work through the imperfections will fail. Number five, avoid slang. Heavy use of slang may not be universally understood. And so here's the timeline we have for it. So for the month of February, week one, we create the narrative for the experience, outline to cost, expectations, and the purpose for the trip. Tell a story of why this experience is too good to pass up. Week two, identify the audience personas for the potential student customers this campaign will target. Week three, generate a social media calendar for strategic social media shares for the experience. Week four, generate imagery to use throughout the campaign for social media posts and email blasts. Now moving on to March, week one, create the registration process and soft launch the campaign through targeted emails, word of mouth, and local display advertising, such as flyers and classroom mentions. Week two, begin your social media campaign blitz. If funds are available, Targeted digital ads can convert. Week 3, begin an email campaign to those signed up with tips and tricks to prepare. This builds excitement. Week 4, combine an email campaign push to unregistered students and social media to create urgency. Moving on to the last month of the timeline in April. Week 1, create a one-page document to prepare the registered students for their impending trip. Include FAQs to eliminate any trepidation they may be feeling. Week 2, final social media campaign for last-minute registrants. Avoid offering incentives at this stage as we're so late into the campaign. Week 3, enjoy the trip, take photos and notes of special moments, build relationships. In the last week, week 4, follow the trip with targeted communication to participants, share stories and imagery.
Okay, evaluating the proposal. So throughout this presentation, we've talked about ChatGPT and what it can do for outdoor pursuits. And so what we're going to finalize our presentation on is the objective of this attainment. So of course, there's lingo that's out there everywhere, but with ChatGPT, you can literally plug in what you're looking for, the website that it comes from, Outdoor Pursuits, and it's going to give you, your objective alignment. You're going to confirm the proposal aligns with your goals and objectives of the rec center. The implementation of ChatGPT, you're going to review the plan for your ability to execute. You're going to look at your own timelines, where you want to achieve this goal, how you want to end up here, the feasibility of using ChatGPT. You're going to talk about the practical solutions, the time frame of your proposal. There should be limited risk, but there's always risk with any type of campaign, and you're going to assess the solution for that. For the risk assessment, you're going to identify the risk associated. Like I said, there's going to be limited risk, but just like with any campaign, you're going to have the contingency plan, you're going to have potential challenges, and you're going to have different preparedness plans. The participants will definitely increase throughout this presentation, throughout this proposal. If the proposal is effective, the rec center will see an increase in participants. By using ChatGPT, those messages can be on social media that will also align with the engagement and the impressions. So for the feedback, talking about the analytics of this proposal, by following with a post-event communication, the survey questions, the appropriate data can offer suggestions for enhancing the proposal in the years to come. So this proposal can not only help your current situation with the rec center, but also future presentations and separate agendas for the future. So why choose ChatGPT? So I don't know about you, but as I've been using ChatGPT, I've seen what it is capable of. It is very consistent. You can scale it across small projects, big projects. It can be engagement for, again, a small group, large group. Optimization. So it's not only engaging, people think it's interesting, but you can use it with search engines. You can also increase your visibility, attract new customers. When it comes to the wording of your presentations, your lingo that you use may be something that you haven't used before. So people are always tired of hearing the same old slogans and phrases, but you can still say the same thing, but say it in a different way. And ChatGPT can help with that. Throughout the endless patience of ChatGPT, they can rewrite the tagline over and over and over. So you think to yourself, this sounds great, but I don't really love it. So you put that tagline back in ChatGPT and bam, you have a brand new one that kind of, puts that point across that you want to say. Now, robot work ethic. So ChatGPT, just like anything computer AI based, it doesn't need a break. You can ask questions to it over and over. And it's kind of like having somebody there that's kind of, your ear that they can listen to and be like, hey, what do you think of this idea? ChatGPT is going to be, endless feedback that it's going to give you. The only thing is, with ChatGPT, you don't have that personal experience, but yet as ChatGPT grows, you're going to gain that personal experience the more and more you interact with it. So here's our references. And so we encourage you to, think about ChatGPT not as a burden, but as something that it can increase the traffic of outdoor pursuits at Tarleton State University. And these are just some of our references here. Thank you.
Great group. We will transition to our guest to see what questions that he has for the group.
So on the slide referencing the timeframes, there was a discussion about using chat. Is there a way we could get that pulled back up real quick so I can make sure I quote it properly?
Yeah.
So the week 3 with the tips and tricks to build excitement. I think that is an awesome idea. Were there any specific things that y'all thought of preparing for this presentation that you think would be beneficial? Like, is there particular ideas that you came up with, or maybe ChatGPT came up with that you'd like to share?
Well, I know
Sure,
that
Tom.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was going to say, I know that with it, if you like know where the trip is located and you put that in there, you can actually ask it for places to go and things to do while you're there. And it's really good for that.
Mhm.
I'm looking at going on a trip with the school here soon, and I was using it myself to look up information about Spain, and it was giving me a whole lot of different locations. It's as detailed as you want it. What's important is when you put into ChatGPT what you want to get out of it. So, like if you're putting in there tips and trips for this for flying American Airlines, okay, let's use that as an example. It will bring that up for you. And it will give you, like what can you carry on, how to get through things faster by making sure that you have these things out when you get in line. So yeah, so it does a really good job with that. It just as specific as you ask it is the
Fair
deal.
enough.
And James, I'll piggyback on that too. I think some of the things we were thinking about when we put this together are things that eliminate any possible fear, right? So we want to build excitement. We want people to be excited about going and doing the outdoor pursuit. That's what's going to build the register and even, have a couple of last minute signups, right? So, uh, we, and what we don't want to have is if we get them to sign up, if we get them to become a registrant, we don't want them to get scared as it gets closer, right? As someone who, I'll use myself as an example. I'm not an outdoor cat. Okay. I need to be pampered. I need to have a Coke Zero pretty much every 5 minutes. Okay. If I don't cook my own, like, no, I'm a McDonald's guy. Like, so the closer I get to this, it might sound cool to start, but the closer we get to actually going, I need that same level of excitement. And I think ChatGPT can offer something similar. Hey, did you know that when you go here, we're going to see this monument and this has some historical value of some kind, right? I think the important thing behind that is, yes, tips for, hey, what to pack here, what to do here, tricks here. It's mostly just to keep that consistency consistency is the wrong word. We want to keep that same confidence that they had when they signed up for it, as we get closer to it. When we did the timeline, that puts us about a month out, right? So week 3 in March versus week 3 in April. We wanted to, again, if the idea behind it is that they sign up around week 3 in February, then a month later we need to make sure they have that same level of excitement, and then we continue it up until the day we leave. I hope that answered your question combined with what Amy said.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very clear. My other question was, so using ChatGPT, you guys mentioned earlier in your presentation that it can be used in place of photos. If we go somewhere and for some reason we lose an SD card, for example, are there any legal or ethical things to keep in mind when doing that? I know social media these days, it asks you if you're using any AI generated images in your posts on Instagram specifically. And I'm just wondering, what is y'all's knowledge on that? What's your take there?
Sure. Oh, sorry, I'll chime in real fast, then I'll turn it over
I'll
to
chime
you.
in first. Nate, I'm going to use you as an example. So say Nate was on a camping trip and his photos were just terrible. And you were like, man, I really need new photos. As long as you cite, hey, this came generated from ChatGPT, and you don't have any pictures of actual people that you don't have they're okay from, then that's okay, as long as you say where this photo came from. You could also say, this is a photo of the Grand Canyon that was similar to our trip that we took, but this photo was generated by ChatGPT.
Okay. Cool.
They also make for good, to Melissa's point, as long as they're cited correctly, but I think it also depends on the use, right? If you put it on Instagram and you're claiming them as your own, then absolutely we can't do that. If it's a simple background photo for a marketing brochure for next year's Rec Sports Out Pursuit, it gives you some opportunities there to promote for next year as well.
Okay. I think those were the only questions I had at the moment. So thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you so much for your questions, and also for our guests who are joining in and supporting your fellow subject matter experts. Thank you so much for supporting them. I wanted to provide an opportunity for you guys to ask questions as well. I know you're thinking. Okay, going once. Oh, Veronica, did you have one?
No, I was thinking, I was kind of wondering, was there any type of, I guess, videos or things that y'all had showing like an example of how this was used, or like different other images? I was just curious on that.
I made a video on how to use ChatGPT for our, I guess our document page, but that's, we don't have it with us. But if you wanted it, I could send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
What is really
you.
cool,
Oh, go ahead.
also, go ahead, Dr. Edwards. What is really cool also is just with ChatGPT, if you put the website of what you want to focus on. So like I put in Tarleton State University Outdoor Pursuits, and then I put the actual link. It actually generated ideas based on the information provided on the website. And so, you know, James could take that information and be like, oh, I really like the way that they have it worded. And so like I have it pulled up right now. And if he didn't like the way it worded, he could just say, generate another version, or make this simpler, or make this more elaborate. I didn't generate any photos for it, but you could easily do that with the website current photos that are on there. And you could also alter those photos if you needed to. You can make them brighter, you could put a person in them, whatever works.
And I've even found that you can, if you don't, it's not just make it simpler, but you can make it more professional, make it more more general, make it you know, you can change the way that it's talking. So if you wanted it to be a more professional, maybe it came back, you're like, really wanted a little more professional. You can actually say that, and it does make some changes. So like she said, you can go either direction, simpler or more professional.
Great. I'm excited about these answers. And now it's time for my question. So if you're in the other class, you know how this goes. I ask some very out of the box questions sometimes. And so here we go. My first question is for our guest. If you're thinking about next spring 2025, and you're thinking about, oh my goodness, I've been asked to do these reports and I've been asked to take the students on these different trips, what would be something that you didn't see tonight that you would like to have in your life in 2025, in spring 2025, to make your life easier in recruiting, retaining the students who actually signed up, and getting them to go and get on the bus to go to said location? What would make your life easier that you did not see tonight?
I I would probably like more information on the participants, like a way to use ChatGPT to learn more about who is going, their likes, dislikes, backgrounds, so that we can start to build trips slightly more specific for certain groups of students. We had a whole group on our most recent trip that they were all friends, all came from the same area. They met in a like college credit class in their high school, all ended up coming to Tarleton. And I feel like information like that ahead of time would be really impactful to kind of alter the trip slightly to be a little more beneficial for them.
Thank you. That's very helpful. I just know in the scope of taking students on trips and taking students out of the country, there are so many things that I think ChatGPT could do to make my life easier and, doing all of the things that need to be done. Okay, so this question is for the group. How much did you utilize AI to, or ChatGPT, for example, did you utilize it to form your presentation?
I'll chime in as long as my voice will hold out. I would say about probably 20%. Most of it was taking our original thought and trying to merge them into a similar voice. When you have 6 people working on a joint project, a lot of times you have different voices. So a lot of it was taking the documentation, Jesse's thoughts, Kenny's thoughts, Carson's, all of those, saying, okay, this is what we want to say. This has been said. Now make it sound in one cohesive voice. That was a big part of what we did. And then obviously, I think you saw some images on the slides there where just based on the context, I asked it a very simple question, took a screenshot to kind of provide some imagery. But nothing, I don't think, outside of the ordinary. A lot of it was just, again, to create that consistency in the messaging along the thought process.
And also, I did want to or did anyone else want to weigh in? I know that's a complicated question, guys.
I won't deny that when I was doing the part on the positives and negatives of AI, I asked it what was its positives. I asked it what was its negatives, and then I used those as some notes to be able to create that section. Because I mean, who better than to ask than the actual program that I am using, because it can't lie. It's very specific about these are my positives and these are my negatives. So yeah, kind of like when I do with my teaching in my classes, I'll go in and like today I was telling them I used ChatGPT to write me 6 slides to teach about community service, and it did it that fast. And yeah, I mean, as a teacher, I am learning some amazing ways to use ChatGPT.
I didn't realize I was unmuted. I was like, yes, that's awesome. And so you can just tell what's going on over here. I'm very, very excited. Okay, so my next question for you guys, and I want you to know a couple of things. Since you guys volunteered to go first, you will not be penalized at all, because the rest of the groups will probably implement like some of the things that they've heard, because I know they are very, very astute and smart, and they will probably implement some of the things that they heard tonight. But you guys, because you went first, you will not be penalized for that. But other groups, you're on notice. You've heard the information. Implement it.
We are listening.
I just wanted this group to know that. And thank you guys for going first. Okay, so this is a question for the group. What did you like the most about your presentation? And if like 3 people could weigh in. Especially a person I haven't heard from yet.
I'll go first to make it easier for the other ones. So what I liked about it is just like Nate, I work at, and of course, James, I work at Tarleton State University. So for me, this topic was relatable. I used to work at the Stephenville campus. Now I work at the Fort Worth campus. But to me, it's something that anybody can do in the DFW area or even beyond. But it's something that, hey, if we wanted to call James tomorrow and be like, hey, we want to schedule a trip or a challenge course, it's just something that we can actually do and not just talk about.
I would say just like sharing the information of how to use it and how to properly use it. Of course, we don't want it to be used maliciously or, for kids to be cheating, but there are proper ways to use it for good and to get a lot of help, and you can get a lot more work done quicker if you know how to use it and, if you understand all the options that it offers as well. So it's interesting to learn that and dive deeper into that, and then also be able to share that knowledge with you guys or whoever is viewing the presentation.
I like how, kind of going along with what Kenny just said, we're saying the good and the bad things about it, because I mean, there's going to be negatives in everything that we're doing as well, but I think it's the safest way to go about it if you know the negatives as well as the positives before you go into something. If somebody didn't know the bad parts about it, they could go into it with a open mind, and when they use it, they could, let's say they use it for homework and they didn't know that you could get in trouble if you don't cite it or if you don't give it credit. And so I think it's good for the new users, to have a full understanding of what's allowed and what's not.
And I piggyback on that. And as a teacher, being that I do teach, I have learned a lot to be able to teach my students how to use it properly. And at this point, I'm teaching 8th grade, which is a perfect time to teach them how to use it properly, so that there's not as much plagiarism and that sort of thing. And I try to teach my students how they can use it to do things like to help create an outline if they're having to write a paper, or how to I was explaining earlier, I found that if you have a really hard document that you don't understand, you can actually drop it in ChatGPT and say, simplify this for me, and it will. And so, for kids who are at risk, this is an amazing program that could actually act as a very good tool for them in the future.
I just liked how informative we made it, if that's like the best way to put it. Like prior to these classes, I wasn't very aware of like how to use Chat GPT and everything. And the presentation itself, I feel like that if I wasn't a part of it and I was just part of the audience, I feel like that would help kind of show me, oh, this is what it's supposed, like this is the best way to use it. This is how you can use it. Like this is where it looks like it's going from here on out, that kind of stuff.
Circling
Okay.
back to James's question that he had earlier, you asked, how could I use it to get to know my participants and whatnot? Well, you could, just for one example, just ask it to create a questionnaire. So once people sign up, you can kind of send the questionnaire out and, ask it. You can get specific with it and say, I want these questions on there, just kind of give you general ideas and whatnot. But I was just thinking that would be a good way to use it to send out to your participants.
Right. And then if you did that, you could then turn around and use the analytics part to group people together based on likes and dislikes. So that information would be extremely helpful when you're trying to set up different groups to go to different places and different likes and dislikes.
Piggybacking on both Amy and Kenny, so not doing a survey, but doing a pre-survey and a post-survey after the adventure and saying, is this what you thought it would be? Would you do something like this again? And then, like Amy was saying, put those people in groups that might have similar interests. This group might like rock climbing more than this group might like, the ropes course, and just kind of make it a little bit more interacting for those people.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for weighing in. I know I asked for 3, but I got more than I asked for. So this is good. This is good and great analysis as well. Okay, so my next question is for our guest. I'm just going to be frank. Have you used ChatGPT?
I have. I've used it to help with social media prompts. I have used it to help with all of our marketing, since I'm over marketing for the entirety of the rec. Sometimes it's late on a Friday on a long week and I'm brain dead and I just need, hey, what would be a good caption for, this post that we have coming out next week? So I'm a little familiar, but not as in depth as I will be after this awesome presentation.
Well, thank you for that. That was one thing that, I wish I would have seen, like, asking, like basically figuring out or gauging the level of comfort with the technology, I think would be, advantageous, especially as we're pitching, because we might be talking at a high level and people have never even created a login for it. So just think about that in the future. This will not be your last pitch. And so this is like in preparation for other things beyond Tarleton. Okay, so my next question is, would you guys or did you guys recommend paid or free ChatGPT? And if you recommended paid, or if you didn't recommend paid, how would you recommend that our guest pitch this to his boss who holds the budget strings in order to pay for ChatGPT?
I would recommend paid. The reason because, and we've talked a lot about all the different ways that we can use it, right? We can talk about the post-event analysis. We can also talk about creating a registration process, which I think was number 5 on the proposal for gaining registrants. On that registration process, if you explain your intent, so back to the original question that Kenny and Melissa commented on. When you're doing the registration process, you can say, I want to be able to group up by sentiment. Can you include these questions on the registration process that will allow me to get to know my students from the front end, right? And so part of it will be that. The reason I recommend paid is ChatGPT has now limited the number of questions you can ask on the free plan. So if you're planning to use it extensively, I highly recommend paid. If it's a one-off social media caption here and there, by all means, remain on the free. But if this is something where you want to use from pre to during to post all the way through, highly recommend the paid with the new feature.
So, and thank you for that. How would your group, someone who's not our prior commenter, how would you recommend that this be sold to our guest boss?
I would simply just show him the answer that the free chat GPT gives you and the premium gives you, and just compare the two. We compare the speeds, and then like he said, the free one only lets you get so many, so throw that one on top of there. So I mean, I think if you just show him the answer that the premium and the free gives you, compare the two, one's a lot more extensive and a lot more specific and faster. So I just think that just a quick comparison should do plenty.
Perfect. Okay. All right. And my final question, I think it's my final question. What is something that is out of the box, just really novel, really something that you wouldn't just find in a ChatGPT answer that you would recommend for your client as part of your pitch that is out of the box, that isn't a normal way of utilizing ChatGPT, but making it accomplish his goals? So something out of the box that you did not mention, but something that is truly novel and truly different and new that you could use to reach the goals of his organization. An example of that, just a slow pitch, an example of that is the conversation that we had about in the chat about basically whenever people are thinking about like how to what to plan as activities to do on the trip. That's an out of the box thing that I didn't see mentioned that I thought would be really cool. But what is something regarding the recruitment, the retention, keeping them as they signed up to the actual event, gauging their responses and likes and dislikes to certain things, and also ultimately thanking them at the end. What is something that you did not include that's truly novel, truly different, out of the box?
Well, okay, I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but recently I found that ChatGPT can create games for me that have answers, that the answers themselves give me feedback and able to group students into different rooms. I think you could do something similar there, because even in college, they love games. So if they can do some kind of a game, which, like I said, ChatGPT, you can say, give me, if you give it what you want, it can do that. And that's what I've been doing in my class to see how much different kids know. And based on their answers, I'm able to group them. You could do something very similar, which I had never thought about using it for that way before, but it can be done.
Good answer.
I've got a crazy one that I've used it for. And
I like crazy. Come on.
okay, well, Kenny is on the rodeo team, so she might have an idea of where I'm going with this. But at rodeos, the animal that you compete against or with is drawn usually out of a hat, and they use poker chips with numbers on them that match the animal's number. We got to a rodeo one time and we didn't have any poker chips, so I used ChatGPT. I said, here's a list of numbers and here's a list of competitors, randomize them and match them to the other one. So that's how we drew animals at a rodeo one time using ChatGPT. That was out there, I feel like, but yeah.
And I like that approach because that's something that, even if you're selecting like the food that you're going to take on the trip, or even if you select, we're going to be at this location, but here are 5 activities that we can choose. I think that that's kind of like a choose your own adventure. I'm dating myself, I know, but if you know about those books, to choose your own adventure kind of thing, you don't know what to expect next. And so that keeps
Right.
you
And
guessing.
that's exactly like a game. Because if you put, what is your favorite food? And you put 4 different kinds out there, well, the ones who wanted Mexican food, well, that could be, a way to group them. And you could do that with all kinds of things. What is your favorite thing to do on a trip? Is it rock climbing? And so based on the answers, you get feedback and you can take and enjoy it. Because like I said, all people love to do those games.
All right. Well, thank you all. It is 7:54. I am going to give the floor to our guest to see if he has any parting words for this group.
Great job. Y'all did very, very well. I learned a lot, and being someone who graduated from this program not that long ago, I find that impressive. I think you guys did great. I am definitely stealing your ideas, just so everyone's aware of that. There's a lot of good information that I can easily implement into my programming, which I think is the most important part. It was not convoluted and complicated. It was very clear. You can do this, this, and this. And I love those ideas. Thank y'all for letting me be a part of this. I'm super appreciative of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we are going to stop recording. 1 second.